School District, Monday, May 8th, 2017, 5:30 p.m. Board meeting. The mission of the Wilton Community School District is to provide an education that encourages continual progress through the improvement of one's abilities, the expansion of one's interests and knowledge, and the growth of one's character. Call to order, Joy, please. Roll call.
Linda Duncan.
Here.
Tony Bird.
Here.
Harry Maurer. Rob Metzger. Tara Owen.
Here. Agenda approval. Any additions, changes, or corrections, Mr. Burnett?
There'll be one correction when we get to the deed. And working with Mr. Denning's office, instead of $1 for the cost of the sale of the land, he had inserted $10. I don't know if that was just a slip of the finger with a zero, but it was never intent too.
That's under...
That's under
under
letter B,
nine.
number 9, letter B. Just an FYI. I'll mention that when we get there, but otherwise, unless Joy, Stacy, do you have anything else to mention as far as any additions, corrections, amendments? I think we should be good.
All right.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to do the minutes approval for April 10th, the 2018 budget hearing meeting.
Motion to approve the April 10th budget hearing. Sorry, I'll wait for Rob. Sorry.
You got a second, Rob, because I wasn't here.
Neither was I, but
Oh. Oh.
All right.
Alright.
All
there's
those-
not enough of us.
All those in favor, please indicate by
Alright.
saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The April 10th regular meeting.
Motion to approve the April 10th regular meeting minutes. Sorry.
I second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to the April 26th special meeting.
Motion to approve the April 26th special meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to the April 26th work session.
It's a busy month in April.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, only
Move
one
to
meeting a
approve
month.
the April 26th work session.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Lastly, the April 22nd SIAC School Improvement Advisory Committee meeting.
Motion to approve the SIAC committee meeting on April 26th.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Public forum. I see none. Recognition.
Hey, I'd like to thank the school board for all of the meetings they attend and the time that they put in to make our schools as good as they can be. And so I appreciate it, and I know that everyone here does as well. We will have a dessert at our June meeting. Our nutrition director had an awful busy weekend with the
Yes,
wedding,
he
and if
just-
any of you attended that
just a
reception,
little.
you could, if you went to the dessert area, there was plenty to pick from, but I think that may have caused our tabling of this celebration tonight, which we were supposed to have. So,
Hey.
but anyway, thank you for all you do. I do appreciate it, and I know everyone else does as well. And I would also like to, at this point, I guess just point out, we received notification, I think I mentioned this to the board in months past, and I've talked to Brandy about it too, but we received a check in the amount of $22,875 from the Roy J. Carver Charitable Trust recently. And that's to go to our track project. And I definitely want to recognize the foundation of the Charitable Trust and thank them for that large donation. So that is very much appreciated. we have a big junior high, kind of South Conference schools, junior high boys track meet here tomorrow night. And we're gonna try to get some pictures, and we'd like to have some kids and, hold up a check and really, let them know we appreciate it and do the little things like that. So in case there's ever any projects in the future, they know that when we receive it in Wilton, A, it's used well, and B, we're thankful for it. So I want to recognize them for that. But that's all I have under the recognition piece.
All right, let's move on then to business financial functions. Stacy?
Number 7 is the taxation fund report. Any questions on any of those? Hearing none, I'll move on to number 8, which is instructional support levy program report for April. Top, you can see the receipts. In the middle is the budget. Bottom of the first page is what we have spent to date, and the top of the second page is what we have remaining to spend. Any questions or comments? Number 9 is the self-insurance fund, ending for the month of April. Lower left-hand corner is the fund breakdown, so you can see out of the $500,000 what's available for medical, dental, and vision. Any questions or comments? Number 10 is Latchkey. The top, before and after school programs, comparing the month of April to the month of March. April was down a little bit, but primarily due to casual full-day usage for no school day. So, and there was a little change in the before and after only. And then as far as for the revenues and expenditures for the month, they're pretty much a wash, which is a good thing because the expenditures have been higher than the revenues, and Ann has been doing a very good job at monitoring that. So, any questions or comments on Latchkey? And then number 11 is the Latchkey period vendor report. So you can see that she is spending no extra money. It's the insurance and the monthly copier fee, because they have their own copier in the Latchkey area. Number 12 is the nutrition program report for the month of April. First page is the usage, so you can see the month and the year-to-date for breakfast and lunch. And then the second page, the financials. And the nutrition fund's been doing very well, and like I've mentioned in the past few months, a lot of it has to do with, or some of it has to do with a la carte being way above budget. So we did add 6th grade to a la carte this year, but I doubt that it's all due to the 6th grade, but maybe. Maybe.
They're a hungry group.
And also, like I mentioned before, in June, all the June, July, and August paychecks all come out of the June expenditures, so that'll be major. Any questions or comments on that? Number 13 is the school nutrition fund period vendor report for the month of April. Number 14, the first page is the activity fund. So pulling out the negatives, drama speech we've talked about before, and the musical, those will have to be covered both by other funds before the end of June. Elementary vocal, it gets covered by junior, senior high vocal before the end of June. Industrial arts, that they should be getting money for a shed that they're building. It should take care of that. And that should be it for the negatives there. And then over at the far right-hand column, you can see the music and the athletic totals, so that account remains very strong. Activity fund. Top of the next page is the FFA Enterprise which is the farm, which also includes the hogs and sheep and the greenhouse. And then our flex benefit plan that we keep at our local bank, and then the agency fund, which are funds that Joy does the accounting for, but someone else owns. Any questions or comments on any of those? Number 15 is the period vendor reports for those funds. It spans 3 pages. The agency fund and the FFA enterprise and activity. Any questions or comments on any of the period vendor reports for those funds? 16, co-curricular driving for the April-May pay period. Sports at the top of the page, classroom, events in the middle, and then other, which is totally reimbursed, including all driver expenses and mileage, and the driver summary at the bottom. Number 17 is the extra payroll expenses for our May 19th payroll. It's a long one, spans 2 pages, and primarily due to the building leadership teams will be paid in the May payroll, and that's based on their monthly meeting attendance of $25 an hour, and then the second half of the mentoring payments, but mentoring funding has been cut, so normally that payment would be $500, but everything is prorated, and this is the last year for mentoring funding actually through the mentoring project itself. We do mentoring programs through other PD funding if the administration chooses to, but so that's the final payment for this fiscal year. Everything else is pretty much status quo. Any questions on any of the extra payroll expenses? And then number 18 is the board bills. And since these were just uploaded this afternoon because we had to close out all the BMOs because the statements weren't available till the weekend with our earliest board meeting date. So I don't know if you want to review them page by page and if you have any questions.
So how come the weed control from the All-Star Turf shows up the vendor report total for 700 under the student activity fund, and then
Because we split it.
also on the okay.
There were several applications done, and we pay so much out of a year out of our general fund,
Okay.
and then the activity fund, athletic accounts have to pick up the balances.
Okay.
So, that's a good question. We paid for the baseball field out of general fund this time because it was the largest. Any other questions?
We're still waiting for bills on the construction.
Yes, I got nothing this month. Revo and Boucher still aren't in agreement. Geisler Brothers is still not signing the negative change order to pay for their share of the storm damage. So they're not getting, and their retainage is pretty large. So that, I would think they would, sooner or later, they're gonna want the rest of their money. And of course, we're not paying Point Builders their final payment till all that gets resolved. So, and the $15,000 retainage left from Woodruff for painting at the ceiling in the cafeteria after school's out, that's still being withheld too.
Which they were supposed to during spring break, and they said they were going to, and they didn't show up till Thursday, and the guy's like, well, this is too big an area to get done in 2 days. Exactly. But we've had conversations via email with Tim Anderson with Point, and as much as Stacy doesn't want to hear this, the odds of everything being closed out this fiscal year, which is by the end of June 30th, doesn't look too promising.
It's
Sad.
frustrating that we've been thrown in the middle of the Reba Boucher thing, because we should be
Yeah.
able to pay the company who owns the business now and let them deal with it, but
Right.
they're saying if we do that, that we'll be in on a lawsuit and put ourselves up there, but that's, yeah, frustrating. Any other questions? If you go down to the management fund, you'll notice a lot of expenses for the softball dugout. So we did get insurance. Insurance claim was around $8,000 to replace what we had. We have a $1,000 deductible, which comes from the management fund. So we still, today, they're still buying some supplies to finish some things. So once it's all said and done and they come up with the final cost, at the June meeting, I'll have to have a resolution authorizing transfer of funds from the management fund to PEPL or once it's sales tax, whichever we decide to pay the remainder of the upgrade from, so that we can transfer that over before the end of the year, because management fund can only pay the $1,000 deductible less what the insurance company reimbursed us. So, and I think every single expenditure in here this time is the softball, and it's $15,700. Last month there was about $150. So, but just to keep it simple, we're putting it all in there now till we're done, so we can see what we're over the claim, and then we'll just do a basic resolution that you guys authorize the transfer of the funds for the upgrade.
Okay.
A motion to approve the bills.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, Stacy. We'll move on to administrative reports. Mrs. Austin.
Yes, that's me. The updated handbook I included, but the total handbook, but in red, or with a strike through it, would be the changes. I left out a word. Under attendance policy, we've always had trouble with perfect attendance and perfect attendance. So now we've just simply made it perfect is 0 absences and 0 tardies. That's perfect. Outstanding attendance would be there in red. If you're at school every day, but you left early or arrived late was the word I left out, which I will add 3 or fewer times. So if they leave for a dentist appointment or come late for a doctor appointment, it's still outstanding if they're in school a part of every day. But they are perfect with the t-shirts. So other than that, really it's all minor
Used to be
changes.
a lot more now.
Yourself large.
What is the
Like
comp
five.
time for like
This
a
is
full
big.
day if they were to leave early?
People getting up.
You mean,
I know,
I think it's,
and
I don't know.
Thought this is good.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Oh, it's in there? There.
I will look at it.
Well, it's okay, it's okay. I was just curious.
Yes. Sarah's got it. Oh, that's Sarah has it all posted on her desk. She's kind of the place for that. I'll look at it until I give it to you.
That's fine.
Any questions about the handbook or anything? Make sure you let me know. Other than that, we had a big week with our Wilton History Week this past full week. We had the kickoff Monday, and then Thursday, first through third graders had Wilton history here. The telephone company came in and showed them clear from the switchboard to the rotary phones, and it was quite a event.
Yeah.
Yes, and the Marines came and brought their tractors. And then Becky Bradfield, we had several retired teachers that came and showed slates and talked about how school used to be. Very well done. And then Friday, the 4th through 6th graders went downtown. And I listed all the locations and the people that helped out with that. It is truly amazing that this amount of people are willing to give us this amount of time. And I do think it creates a lot of pride in our little peeps. I mean, they were all about it. They really did a nice job. the people presenting did a great job with the human interest side of the story and telling them all the fun facts, and it was a very big day. And Diane, Tricia, Paula, and the Pie Committee spent all year organizing it. So it's very much appreciated. 5th, 6th grade band concert, I guess that's extremely important. I put that in there twice, May 18th. Field trips, again, I think our kids are very fortunate that the teachers and PTO and the board and everybody supports our learning outside of the building. 3rd graders tomorrow are going on that riverboat cruise. I mean, it's just fun, the stuff they get to do. Every grade level, I think, does something really unique and fun. Step-up day will be the Tuesday, the 23rd. Preschool graduation is also that day. It'll be a busy afternoon for us. The last day of school is Wednesday, the 24th, and we'll go 8:10 instead of the regular 9:10. So we'll have to make sure that we communicate that with everyone that school will start, even though it's a Wednesday at 8:10, since we're finished at 11. Then Thursday and Friday we'll do Leader and Me over at the community center. Some of the requirements they had and the amount of people we're training is over 60, so we're gonna go over there. What else? I think Carney Ball, Mel went down the day of Carney Ball, emergency with one of her children, and everybody stepped up and we pulled Carney Ball off. Without the lead Carney Ball lady. The lead two Carneys were gone. The lead 2 Carneys were gone, we still got her done.
Oh.
So that was great. Summer Academy, July 24th to August 11th. Fran Riley will be in the house on Wednesday. Good work. Suggesting that. He was more than happy to come. And Diane's more than frustrated. She's going to get that notoriety, but the kids will enjoy it.
It's okay.
Yeah, the parents and grandparents, I'm sure, will be proud. The final paragraph lists all of our volunteers. And if you're ever in the building, you see them all over. And obviously, that's quite a lengthy list. And we appreciate the work they do with our kids. Because, man, they make things, we are able to individualize a lot of things and have a lot more hands on in the classroom. Any questions for me?
Our seeds for the pollinator gardens have been coming in, so that is in the works too.
Yep. That's what he's going to tape on Wednesday. The inaugural digging of the pollinator garden.
At
So
least the seeds will be.
we will see. Yeah.
They don't have to have a follow-up and
Yeah.
see how it's going. There we go.
He's coming at 10, Diane believes. He says he'll be here a little over an hour.
Yeah, see? All righty. Thank you, Denise. All right, Mr. Crawford.
As you can tell there, this month obviously gets really, really busy with a variety of things there. May 17th is still our biggest day of the year, I think, with the seniors having practice. Then when they go to lunch, we plant a tree. I think the new tradition that I have there in the paragraph, Ms. Austin and I don't know who can come up with it, but we saw a school that does it. Now we're seeing more schools do it, I think, on Twitter. So we have agreed to do this as well, is that we'll pass out the cap and gowns to the seniors on the 17th, and then at the end of the day, we'll have them walk through the elementary and have the elementary people come out and see that. So I think that'll be neat. I mentioned that to a graduate from last year, and she was very upset that they didn't start this last year.
That always
She said
happens.
she goes, that sounds really
Always
cool.
happens.
So very excited to see how that goes over with only the elementary, but I also think it's probably more fun for the high school students.
Yeah.
Actually, on those types of things there. So, and then Wednesday night's our senior awards night. Again, I cannot compliment the community enough on the amount of money locally that we give. They get money from the schools, they get money for grades on that kind of stuff, but the amount of money, I mean, the alumni banquet already gave out $2,500 scholarships a month ago already. So that's just a tremendous amount of money that goes out that night. And like I say in there, it goes 90 minutes, but it's not because of me blabbing. It's just how many things. I talked very little that night, actually, but just how many scholarships we have to give out. And I know that we've had a few people in the past year say, you know, you think 250 is enough? And I said 250 is not. This is plenty. You know, 250, those 500s, and those thousands really add up. And they may seem, that's not very much compared to some of the others. Any money is fantastic,
Yes.
so I think that's great. But then you should just see, from the 18th, we start with, some awards for the 9th through 11th. That 19th, that Friday, we'll start checking in on Chromebooks. The Adventureland Step Up Day, Summer School with Mr. Putman and Mrs. Hetzler will be off and running on that May 30th. I think that's a Tuesday. And we'll get letters out end of this week, early next week. I'd like to say the end of this week, but it'll probably be early next week. So that is in the works for what we have going on. And with athletics, on that one tomorrow night's our South Boys conference meet that we'll host. Weather looks okay, but other than that, like I said, the 200 hurdles mark, we're checking to make sure we have the 200 hurdles marked correct. We know that the high school markings are correct. That might be the only one off. Other than that, the new track has been very, very easy to administer. So I've been very happy with it. It's nice to have a nice new track on those types of things there. But busiest time of the year are these couple weeks. The only thing I know we'll talk about AD-wise is that we had conference up in Bellevue last Thursday, and we got home at midnight. Lord only knows what time Mid-Prairie got home.
And set off the alarm.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
They
know
what?
this.
They
by
set
So
now
off
up
before.
there and they set
Well,
off
the
the alarm.
alarm, that's 11. They
Really
came in to
freaked
get
me
their
out.
stuff.
yeah.
The alarm's at midnight and they came right.
I've been 3 different times now. So good.
Depends which time zone you're in.
Yeah. Eastern or Standard or Mountain?
Central.
So I know that we'll say the things that, you can't say anybody that's on the outer circles, you never get a shot at it, but at the same time, it'd be nice to have it centralized. If we can't centralize, at least split up the boys and the girls. It wasn't that Bellevue ran a bad meet, it's just a long ways away. And when you have 13 boys and 13 girls teams there, it takes a while to get to the state.
Right. Yeah.
Just normally, just doing 4x8, a lot of time. On a 6-lane track, that just makes it tough on them.
Yeah.
So I know there'll be a little bit of discussion on that one. Baseball, softball started. I do not have softball numbers, but Jake said, Mr. Strada said the baseball's 41. We're starting into the golf conference and sectionals and stuff like that too. So I'd like us to go to, I'm going to move quick, to the handbook. Handbook. There are 3 pages that we made changes to. Page 3 is the first one. I was just kind of scouting through this a little bit. The Wednesday schedule on page 3, if you're there, block 1 and 2. We used to have block 1 and 2 a little shorter, and blocks 3 and 4 were regular length. To work with Durant even more, we have now lengthened first and second block and shortened third and fourth block. But that also means our lunch times. People go to class for a little bit, have lunch, and go back to class for a little bit. That's going to be new. That'll just be a little bit different on Wednesdays.
Whoa.
Okay?
Well, I got the
Where's
handbook
it,
and I got
where's it
the,
at?
yeah, I got the mission statement.
Scroll down.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
It doesn't-
Yeah, if you just scroll down, it'll be the next 30-some pages.
got it.
Gotcha,
I didn't
gotcha.
know what, I didn't say it.
Okay.
Okay, did you see, okay, if I look at the heading, that would help.
And we really haven't made a lot of changes to it in the recent
Okay.
years, but this year with the times on page 3, then the next one is page 25 I wrote down. So scroll all the way down. On page 25, underneath dances, we're going to have a guest dance form. Other schools have done it, and I've always felt that I knew the person and I knew who they're kind of bringing, and I'll be honest with you, I'm just kind of getting to the point where I'm starting to get lost on who's all coming. And so I think just having a guest dance form, I think will be easier in the future, even though I won't be the person administering it. It's time, I think, to have a guest dance form. It's just time. There's just so many outside people coming in, where that's just, when I say it's never been the case, I've always felt like I knew who was coming. In these last 2 years, I just don't feel that way, and so we put that in as a guest dance form. Jill has a copy. I've shown it to Mr. Burnett and all those types of things. It's not too awful difficult. So I think.
Well, the other thing, if something were to occur, we've got a better record. Right now, the students say, I'm bringing Linda Duncan. Well, are you really Linda Duncan? Whereas with the guest form, for example, we've been having these for several years. If a student were going to prom in Muscatine, and they take one of our students, the student has to come here, and Mr. Crawford has to sign it and say, yeah, that is Noah Brown, and he is going. So, there's
Okay,
just
so-
more,
And they'll have it has to be under age of 21. I think, we institute, I think it's always been the case, but
Yeah.
but at least there's some,
Yeah.
you
No,
know,
that's good.
we
I
know
would
who's.
hope nobody will stop there. Page 28. Page 28 also, Mr. Dutchaver, upon request, has put in suicide prevention program into our junior high skinnies and that kind of stuff. And that's kind of our, when I say it's district policy, you vote yes to all of that. That's a modified version of, he gave me like 3 pages, and that's kind of a condensed version of all the things that we have there, so. And I think that covers that we have something in place, school board policy-wise. But other than that, those are the 3 big changes. I changed a few wording things. Again, nothing that,
Check your typo on point 2 on page 29 there.
29 typo.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be will designate, isn't it? Each school will designate instead of each school with designate.
Last paragraph.
Point 2. Number 2.
Oh, number
Oh.
2. With designate, yes, will. That's
Right.
one of those that will catch that.
On page 29, the Iowa suicide hotline is 211. That's 211 is United Way, which is not staffed by certified suicide prevention people. That's more like a resource connecting type place, often staffed by other consumers of mental health services. So that's a different service. So I can get, actually the national line above is sufficient. That'll route you to a local hotline.
So just take that bullet out.
Yeah, I would take that one out entirely.
All right, good deal, thank you.
No problem.
All right. We will move on if there's no questions for Mr. Crawford. Action item.
You bet. Consent agenda number 1, we have 2 resignations, non-related, even though they're in the same sport. But Gabe Bourne for junior high cross country has some things come up that he needs to do this fall, and most likely this will be a 1-year situation where he's away from it. And we're also, whoever applies for that job, we're having that discussion too. But with Dave Cook, he is no longer in the state of Iowa and considered coming back to coach the high school cross country team because he loves it and he does a great job. But that's unfortunately not going to work for him, and so he let us know this week that unfortunately he resigned. So we'll be looking for a. Right.
That's why, yeah, that's why.
And I don't foresee that being a 1-year hiatus
No.
unless the cooks come back. But anyway, that's all I have under the personnel changes. The job descriptions, we're going on a 4-year cycle and we're through that now, and our next job description will be in October.
Okay.
So that's all I have under consent agenda number 1.
Motion to approve consent agenda number 1.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda number 2.
Relatively short, 300 series. Looking this over, I have no suggestions of any tweaking or, overhauls with those 6 policies. Any questions or anything you want to discuss on those?
Motion to approve consent agenda number 2.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. On to consent agenda number 3.
Yeah, definitely a mixed bag of
Yes.
different areas of things to approve under consent agenda number 3. The first one being letter A, the junior senior high handbook. I won't say as amended, but as discussed with a couple of those tweaks that Rob had brought up, and also with just the spelling. Letter B is our graduating seniors for the class of 2017. Graduation is 2 weeks from yesterday. So be looking for a letter from Mr. Crawford. I'd love if all the board members could attend like we have in the past, but we'll get some information on that. Letter C is the elementary handbook as presented by Mrs. Austin. Letters D and E are our student teaching cooperative agreements with St. Ambrose and with Iowa Wesleyan respectively. Letter F is our first reading of policy number 222, negotiations. If you want to look at that. I don't know, I discussed this with Joy and I said, you know, we talked about this last month. Really the only paragraph that's pertinent and really covers everything, it just says the board shall set the parameters and goals for negotiations. Periodic strategy sessions shall be considered with the entire board to maintain open communication between the board and its chief spokesperson, which we don't have, let's say, necessarily chief spokesperson, but it doesn't limit us either if you decide to. And then strategy sessions are exempt from the open meetings law. And part of the reason I didn't put anything about interest-based bargaining or interest-based handbook is the more you put in there, the more restrictive you become of your own policy. So the more open-ended you can keep it on situations like this, so be it, in my opinion. So that's what I recommend for the first reading of revamping that policy. Is there any questions or anything you'd like to see changed, added, amended? All right, okay. And then letter G is just our second reading policy 103.E1, that notice of non-discrimination. That was with our desktop audit from the state as far as just making sure all of our policies are updated. And we added that social economic status to that policy. We discussed that last month. But that's all I have on consent agenda number 3.
Motion to approve consent agenda number 3.
I'll second as discussed.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Additional action items.
Yes, for individual consent, letter A is for vehicle bids. As you know, we try to rotate out vehicles and keep our fleet, you know, rotate vehicles through and whatnot. We usually take that from our PEPL funding, which is the same as SAVE, but we designate that with PEPL. There are 4 bids, and what's interesting, and we wanted to have something in front of the board in April, but interestingly, our RFP, we're looking for a 9-person vehicle, or 9-passenger, I should say, vehicle. And if you get over 9, you get to 10, you have a different license for your driver. Okay, so you cannot go over 10. Interestingly, with vans, they come between 8 and 10 and above. It's like there's no 9. You know, I guess the best, it's funny because it's person related. When I go to buy a pair of jeans, I make 34s and 36s. I need a 35. So you're in the middle.
Yeah,
And the same thing with the vans. They make an 8 and a 10, and you can't be at 10. But we wanted to get 9 because we have a lot of events where we take our students to where 9 would be nice to have. I mean, if you're driving there, have the extra seat. So, that being said, what other, instead of a van, we asked for an RFP of any vehicle, but that includes Suburbans. But Suburbans cost more money.
A lot more money.
Exactly. And so, but I mentioned to Joy and Stacy, well, let's give the board the option. If you want a 9-person vehicle, you're going to spend quite a bit more money to have a 9-person vehicle for one spot. Okay, and What I had Joy run and get, which didn't make the packet, not that we're saving much money, but Krieger's gave us, and it's listed here, but I'll tell you what it is. For the two-wheel drive Suburban, they knocked it down to $42,200 instead of what they listed on the bid, what, 45? I don't have mine up because I'm trying to go through it. 49?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to write down, the two-wheel drive, they knocked it to 42.2. Okay, and the four-wheel drive, they took to 45. Everyone has an opinion, and I'll give you mine, and it's ultimately up to the board. At the end of the day, the board oversees the finances. Number one, if you were to go with a 9-person vehicle with Krieger's and the Suburban, my recommendation would be to go the four-wheel drive versus a two-wheel drive. Okay, because with the rear axle and having the two-wheel drive, and as much as we use that in the winter, granted, the argument can be made, our cargo van currently has two-wheel drive. But from a safety perspective, I can't in good faith say for a $2,800 difference, I'd recommend the four-wheel drive. Okay, that's number one. Number two, well, actually I have three things. Number two, the van bids, there's about a $213 difference between Mincer's and Columbus Junction and Ron Alpen Ford and Durant. And if you were to decide to go with the van, my recommendation would be go Ron Alpen Ford. It's a it's a $213 difference. Ron Alpen Ford does a lot for us with the school, to drive to the schools, and does a lot of things too. When it's that close, support the local, in my opinion. And number three, I guess my recommendation, given the fact that it's a $20,000 difference to pick up one seat, I can't justify making that recommendation to the board. And I would imagine that the insurance rate would be higher on a Suburban versus a van too. I had Amy check the gas mileage, and quite honestly, they're about the same. Surprisingly, between the van and the Suburban, I thought Suburban would be a little bit more of a gas guzzler than the van, but it's not. And so given these numbers, I wish we could get a, and what's interesting too, we got one bid from Wheelies, and they had a 12-passenger van. They're like, we'll just take out one of the seats, and then it'll be 9. Well, the state won't license you with that. Whatever it says for the number of seats, whether you have all the seats taken out, and you just got the driver, it's still going to show 12 on your license when you go for that, therefore meaning you have to have the right certification to drive it. So I know that sounds like a runaround.
So what are the implications in not having the one seat? How often is that gonna, you have to take a bus then?
No, you just need a second van. We do that now.
Okay.
We do that now. And is it daily? No. Is it weekly? Maybe. But again, it's one spot.
And we did budget $50,000 in couple for vehicles. Because I think vehicles, because at one time I think we thought we would buy more than one, but we haven't bought any yet this year, so.
But it's up to the board.
At that point, do you get 2 vans?
You could
get
two vans.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
seriously,
Instead of
Absolutely,
one
absolutely.
Suburban, 2
And you know what?
vans, and it's budgeted.
PEPAL and SAVE can be carried over. Unlike some funding, lose it or use it or lose it.
Right.
That's not the case. And I agree with Stacy. We put $50,000 there. And again, if the board wants to go with the four-wheel drive Suburban or the two-wheel drive, that's your prerogative. I'm just not convinced that spending $20,000 for one seat is worth it. That's my opinion, but it's up to the board. There's other people in this room, I'm sure, have a different opinion, but that's my recommendation.
So we're looking at the 8-passenger.
The 8-passenger van from Ron Alpen Ford listing at $25,063, 2017. It's white. I don't know. You can see the specs. I mean, what are out there?
Oh, okay,
It's just
okay.
not as cool.
What's that?
It's not as cool. I drive a van. What are you saying?
I'm saying, Suburban would be cooler than that van.
Well, yeah, but
Nothing wrong with practical things.
there you go, yeah.
Wow.
I'm right there with
A lot of defense going on.
Yeah. So I step away from the fire.
As I say,
Yeah, Kirby.
jeez.
What's on your list?
It's up to the board to
So-
decide, make a motion one way or the other.
Yeah,
So right now, the vehicles are two-wheel drive vans.
Right, but they're front-wheel drive.
Is this not a front-wheel drive van, transit?
I was talking about the Suburban.
Yeah, no, yeah,
The replacements would be front-wheel drive as well.
if we went with a van,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the van,
Okay.
and which, in my opinion, they're safer
Right.
during, the winter months versus rear-wheel drive.
Right.
Now, our cargo van, which we have across the street, is rear-wheel drive, and I get that, but that's a bigger vehicle than our other vans that we have in our fleet. Exactly, and what Mr. Crawford just said, we don't take that van a lot in the winter. That's more for softball and golf, and whatnot.
So
Anybody
who's-
that lives in Iowa, we just know it's more dangerous having a two-wheel drive.
Right.
Rear-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Who's likely to be most impacted by the 8-passenger versus 9? I guess, is the solution just 2 vehicles? I mean,
That's
and is that a
really no
major-
way.
is that a major issue? I mean, is there usually a second adult to
Yeah, I mean, we,
handle that? I mean,
correct. If, wrestling takes vans in a lot of places, certain
Mhm.
sports do. If there's a parent that is approved, or teacher,
Mhm.
to drive the van, they're covered under our insurance. We check into
Sure.
that. They just have to be approved.
okay.
And if we've taken kids to different events, whether it be FFA,
Mhm.
any sport, and
A
we
lot of
can't,
cheerleading, cross-country, some wrestling, especially JV wrestling.
Right.
I don't know, in the summer,
softball likes to take them if they can.
sometimes softball likes to take one behind the bus with all the equipment and stuff. It's just,
Mhm.
kind of depends on the day. And then, of course, you've got your drama and your, I think,
Yes, Gosler. In a perfect world, they would make a
Make a
9-passenger van.
yes, but,
And in a perfect world here, the gap wouldn't be almost the cost of another van. It wouldn't be a $20,000
different.
Right.
difference.
Right.
If it were within,
The point is, you're
Suburban's
not,
bigger than a van too. I mean,
right.
you get a Suburban, who's ever driving it's gonna have to,
If you're not used to driving a big vehicle, that's a
Right.
huge adjustment. I mean,
Right.
that's, yeah. The point is that you're not dealing with a group of kids and one adult who can't transport because you need 2 vehicles. I mean,
right,
you've got enough drivers if you have to take 2.
exactly. It hasn't been an issue
Yeah. Okay.
to this point.
And honestly,
Wrestling.
there's nothing saying,
Yeah.
there's nothing saying the second vehicle would have to be a van.
No,
Right.
absolutely, it could be.
So, It should be a car.
The nice part about these vans, though, the only thing I would say is a new car, you're in that same ballpark.
Yeah.
And the difference, obviously,
Right.
when you're
Yeah.
driving a car, you're most likely to get 3 or 4 kids in there versus,
But
So-
we have a couple of cars.
we have 1.
Oh, okay.
We used to have 2.
Okay. All right, I can keep track.
These vans, I don't know, it's just,
Well, let me ask this question. Do we want 2 vans?
well, I'm not opposed to getting 2 vans. The only thing we didn't do with this is we didn't trade anything in. If we want to, if we do get 2 vans, I think it'd be wise to trade one of ours in that we're running currently.
Gotcha.
And I'm sure, we could table this, and if
Revisit it
if
when
we have
you have that.
$50,000
It sounds
budgeted,
like-
I could contact Ron Alpen Ford if the board, that direction. I guess the board, I don't know, there's all kinds of things you can do. You could approve this van, but also then instruct me to order another van for Ron Alpen Ford at that cost and work a trade-in with our oldest.
Or will they do anything more if we're doing 2 instead of 1?
It's a deal.
don't
I do know this, that we get a
Pretty
pretty
good deal.
significant discount being,
That's
To
right.
begin
Sure.
with,
uh,
okay.
government.
See, the base price is
Yeah.
at 560.
Yeah, it's right, 10,000 off.
Gotcha.
But that's a great question, Tara. I shouldn't say, I don't know. I don't think we would get a bigger discount getting 2 versus 1, but, mean, versus the trade, and I'd prefer to trade it in than trying to sell it
Oh,
outright.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't know, but that's an option, obviously, the board can
So
take
then
bids.
how old are, I mean, what
What are you
are you
gonna
gonna
trade?
trade? How old is
Well,
that
our,
vehicle?
our oldest, Town and Country maybe? What would you say is our oldest vehicle? One of our Uplanders?
I think the Uplanders are probably the oldest, and then maybe the Silver.
And how old?
And you're talking what year?
Which Uplander?
We have two of them, well, we've got two of them.
Not the blue.
I would recommend,
sell it right
if,
to
if the
Ken.
board
Yeah,
decides
Ken
to
would like to
purchase
buy it.
one van tonight and would like us to contact Ron Alpen Ford and see if we can get a second van for that price, but then also quote us, because then the next board meeting, they could bring, you know, what they would offer, the board would have to approve the trade-in and the total cost,
Okay.
okay?
Well, let's do that.
And then, and we'll decide which van, I mean,
But then instead of a van, should we get a car? So that we have two
Nope.
cars? Because there's lots of times when we have individuals that take vans.
correct.
Car is old.
But the only thing I would say in defense of that is the gas mileage of a van versus a car is not that great, number one. And number two, we're more likely to, you know, transport more kids. I mean, we get a car, but I'd rather have, personally, again, everybody's got an
I'd
opinion.
rather have the capacity.
Exactly,
Yeah, I
I'd take
would
the
too.
capacity every time if we could. And we've got a car
Right.
for a lot of individual stuff. And you know what, if we have a day where two people are going somewhere and one person's going the other, and we have to take a van versus having two cars, so be it.
And these vans are pretty easily adjusted for hauling gear, I assume, so. it's-
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But Stacy's right, I mean, we have several days where we have people, one person going somewhere or whatnot, but, and we always put them in the car first, you know, we try to maximize
Yeah.
that, but I think the 8-passenger van, given the specs of what we can and can't do, gives us the most versatility
Mhm.
district-wide.
I agree.
For the cost, for the miles per gallon, for whatnot. But back to the vans, we may not go with our oldest van. There's a couple of those vans that aren't the best
Right.
quality, so I'm not gonna go by just which one's oldest.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to look at which one's the most,
Okay.
Okay.
or least feasible. I don't know how I wanna say that, you know.
I'll make a motion that we purchase one van from Ron Alpen Ford, one 8-passenger van from Ron Alpen Ford, and then ask you guys to look.
Can you list the price?
At,
$25,063.
if I could see it.
$1,063.
Yeah,
You said
$25,063.
Okay.
I second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, well, I will talk to Joy tomorrow, but we will contact Alpens, let them know, A, that we'd like to purchase that van, and B, maybe we can change the color. We can get a different color.
Say Oxford white.
So,
Computer.
Okay.
On this one, or,
No, but.
on the next van.
Whatever.
so you can say white van, blue van?
Well, I'm just saying, you
Yeah.
change it up a little bit, because some people, when you send them to the garage, God bless, not everybody knows an Uplander from a town and country. It's like, you take the blue van, you take the white van.
Put a number on the bumper.
There you
Some
go.
premium wheels so we can have.
Car numbers.
Free
Yeah. Car
Oh,
numbers.
shouty, shouty.
Okay, well, I think that sounds great. That sounds great.
Okay.
And then letter B is our resolution for approving the executed deed, the old elementary building site, and not for $10, as what
It says.
the law firm put in there, but $1, as we've instructed them and have also discussed throughout this entire process.
Mhm.
And I spoke with Chris Ball prior to our board meeting, not knowing if Mr. Denning was trying to do the same thing, or, you know, put something together for the city tonight, and they're not. But I said, if you get anything, please double check and make sure that it says $1.
It'll probably cost us more than $9 to make a change.
Probably.
But, not what we said.
I agree.
So we
So
need,
can we approve it still, just?
Just amended, instead of reading $10, please, for the $1.
Right.
So, yeah. Do we need to read something specifically or just a motion to approve?
Well, let's look at the resolution here.
I don't think he has it like that, but it should be a roll call vote too, because we're selling land,
Oh, yeah.
selling real property.
Right.
So,
I would say probably after this, where it says special word TV, just. so,
Just the first
$1
part
a
then.
month.
Okay, so move for the consideration of $1, not 10. Another valuable consideration, Wilton Community School District, AKA the Community School District of Wilton, do hereby convey to the City of Wilton the following described real estate in Muscatine County as outlined in the document therein.
Second.
Oh,
Yep, so in a
Yep.
second, you're right.
all right. Now, roll call vote.
Linda Duncan.
Yes.
Tony Bird.
Yes.
Robin Metzger.
Yes.
And Carol Wayne.
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right. Joy, I just noted this in our conversations. Joy uploaded the certified handbook, but it's not listed under consent agenda number 3 and should be. It is on the agenda. It was posted as one of our items, but it didn't make it on the paper piece. There were some corrections that were needed based upon my conversations with Lynette on their end. Certainly, like I said, it's not this side or whatever, but it was not presented correctly on that end. And I went through the handbook and everything is in there correctly now. I guess the question is, and are you comfortable with approving it? It's in our packet, but was not on the agenda. Otherwise, we will approve that at our next month's board meeting. It's up to the board.
My first thought is to move it to the next meeting.
Okay. Make sure it's done correctly.
Yep.
So, but it is in the packet. Please review it this month. I will let the union know that it did not make our agenda, but not to read into that.
Correct. Yes.
So FYI, you see that in the, like I said, it's in the packet of information.
Okay.
Under the information discussion committee items, you can see our list of hirings. With Eric Grunder as a model teacher. With the resignation of Kay Keener, she was also a model teacher. That's why we have had that opening. Number 2, Kay Costigan, 7th grade volleyball. Step 1, there, that 1979. Number 3 is Kelly Jo Jannings, assistant varsity softball, step 2, 2578. Kirsten Castillo for high school cheer coach. If you remember, we approved Amber's resignation last month. She's a step 1, 1188. And number 5, Marcia Hetzler for junior high student council. Kay Keener also held that position. And that's a step 1 at 705. So those are the hirings. Under maintenance, as you can imagine, things are getting geared up for summer. We pass out maintenance sheets in each building, you know, as far as suggestions or areas that need to be fixed or whatnot. Particularly this year with the elementary building, if there's anything that needs fixed, we've got that 1-year warranty. And so we really want everyone to take a hard look if there's something wrong with the desks or the cabinets or molding or whatever. We want to make sure that that's caught. Just saying that the locker room projects downstairs in the old cafeteria are coming along too. They've got the ceiling grid hung and the lights are being put in, and you know that's coming along as well. You know, the main piece on there that will have to be done near the end is putting that epoxy floor in, and that's what, you know, until we do the other epoxy floor. Otherwise, we could have wrapped this project up probably sooner, but that all had to be done at the same time. Anything pool board related you can think of?
Oh, we're working on a shutdown and different things, and since our meeting's Wednesday, and it was, of course, after our other one, it's always question get.
Yep.
Looking at a new roof, right?
Yes.
Fall probably.
Yes. They had, I don't know what happened. We haven't been told what happened. I know it blew off or,
There's a small section that Joe Rag gets replaced with shingles that we had on hand, because he said that the roof needs to be replaced.
One of the things we've talked about internally, as we think about this at the board, is just looking at different roofing, options, down the road. Do you want to go with a steel roof, or do you want to continue the shingling? I mean, if you just look at it from a long-term investment, weigh those pros and cons and costs and, think about that. That's all. Instead of spending a lot of money on shingles.
yeah.
But maybe that's what you guys want to do. Legislatively, attend the government officials luncheon today. I know Tony and Linda were there, so nothing, I think, too crazy to report, other than the in-depth information we got from our our national elected officials' pages.
Yeah.
I'm kind of being sarcastic. You'll have to ask Tony and Linda about those conversations. Nothing on the goodwill piece. We had Teacher Appreciation Week last week, so we recognized our teachers, and as we always do, and appreciate what they do. Under the miscellaneous piece, as Mrs. Austin mentioned, May 24th is the last day of school with the 11 a.m. dismissal and the 8:10 start. I do want to mention that Bo Huber started here in his role with technology the first week of May. And I also wanted to just make a comment about the softball dugout. We had it, the home dugout blew over during one of our windstorms earlier this spring. And, our local crew, Don Drake, Roger and Jim Grunder, and Mike Hennessy's been helping out, Ed Sowell, and anybody else that's been up here to chip in. It looks really nice. So happy with that as well. The last thing I wanted to mention is our regularly scheduled board meeting in June is on the 12th at 5:30. One of those pieces, that's when we go to the superintendent's evaluation, which would be an exempt session that night. But we have a work session scheduled for May 24th at 5 p.m., which is the last day of school. My recommendation is to not have the work session that night because of everything that's going on with the last day of school and whatnot. And I really don't have a whole lot to share with the board 2 weeks from now that would have a large bearing on what we're doing this summer. Now, years past, if we hadn't finished negotiations, we were working on the building project,
Always something.
we definitely had that. And you guys know this as well as I do. If we have a 2-hour meeting, we can fill it. But I don't have anything pressing to recommend us having the meeting with it coinciding the last day of school and everything else that's kind of going on.
So you wanting to move it to another day or just not having
I'm
it for
saying
June?
my recommendation is to not have it this month. But again, that's up to the board. If you'd like to have the work session, do it.
I won't be here anyway that day, so.
Okay.
Did a ball game.
Well, I know that's when we really hit the crazy time for parenting and whatnot. But again, not to sugarcoat it, but if we had a pressing issue and we had to get stuff done, we would have it. I mean, it's not
Are we gonna have a board retreat this summer?
That's one of the other
Soon.
things we need to look at. I thought it would be beneficial, I know I mentioned this to you guys, but I'll say it public with our new high school principal, junior senior high principal. I thought it'd be nice if he could be a part of that at some point. The only thing I would suggest potentially, but I know he'd make it work, but I don't like to put him in a bad spot of taking vacation days
Right.
if he needs to finish up work up there, is he starts here July 1st. So possibly maybe doing something in July versus June, just because that may fit his schedule better, him starting July 1st, if you're okay with that.
Early in July.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Early in July, yeah.
and it's up to the board what you want to do. We've done everything. We've gone to Iowa City, we've had a half day here. It's really what the board wants to do. But I'd like Mr. Snavely to be there, and I know you would too. But my only recommendation is to do that after he starts work. That being said,
We'll still need to get it toward the end of June, right? Approve bills.
We have
yeah, we have 2 meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 2 regular meetings in June.
Right, which
Yeah.
we may not,
We just
Yeah,
may
but
not
you
have the
do-
work session prior to that.
right, we could just do, because we always put it together, but we may
Right.
just have to.
But, let me throw this out there. I know he would make it work because he's the type of person that wants to, you know, get off on the right foot, and he would do that if we needed to. But we would just have, my recommendation is when we meet on June 12th to decide a day. And, you know, and I can certainly contact Mr. Snavely shortly after that, and, you know, if it's 2 weeks later, you know, hopefully it'd work his schedule. But we'll just have to coordinate that. And if you're okay with, you know, we decide that night, when that would be, that'd be great. But that's all I have. I will say this, every school year goes fast, but I can't recall a year that went faster. And I don't know if that's because we had no snow, you know, we had that one day where we had to cancel school, so that helps when you don't have a horrible winter weather-wise. And you know, when you have a good year with the weather, that means you don't have snow days, which doesn't extend your school year. You know, anytime you get past Memorial Day, it just, so by having the normal get-out day at May 24th, that also makes it, you know, you really don't have an extra week or 10 days. Does make the school year,
Right.
make it tight. So, but it's been a great school year, and I think everything but the elementary school's been wonderful, as seamless as it could possibly be, having that major of a change logistically and
Can't believe
whatnot.
it's already a whole year that we've been in there. It's cool.
It's crazy. So, that being said, that's all I have.
Make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
And you know what I thought would be neat too, and this is